Hey guys, and welcome to your first Python tutorial. So today we're going to get started on, Python. If you don't know what Python is, I don't necessarily know why you're watching this video, but okay. So it's a programming language, and it's relatively simple for beginners and also people that have experience. So first of all, we're going to load up our browser. And just going to put this right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in python.org. We're going to go here, and the website looks relatively nice, so it's really easy to navigate to. So you just go down to downloads, and we're going to download the latest version, which is 3.5.2. And this series is going to be for Windows users, so Macs, I'm sorry. So we're going to go down here, and we're going to go down to Files, right? So we're going to find the one that says Executable Installer. This is the one that we're going to download. It's about 28 megabytes, so it shouldn't take too long to download. And we have this downloaded. There we go. So you're in this setup here, right? And you're just gonna press install now because it's not gonna install any like bad stuff on your computer, so you have really nothing to worry about. I will be back once this is installed. Okay, so we have it successfully installed. If you got an error, maybe I might be able to help you if you put that down in the comments. But you shouldn't get an error. It might take a little bit of a while, so let's hope you're content with that. So we're going to go down to the menu, and we're going to check. We see that we have a new program, and we're going to open up IDLE. So if you don't have this little toolbar here, you can just search it in here, IDLE, and then you get this nice little command prompt here, and you can do you could do a few things in here. You could import a math library. So what this is basically doing is giving you all the little functions that you can do with math. So we're not going to get in. We're going to talk about that later. But we're not going to be doing much in this console here. We're going to make a new file. So also before, I forget to mention, go ahead and make a folder on your desktop and call it Python Programs, because this will help you out a lot in the long run, because whenever you're making a lot of programs, you want to be able to keep track of them, and if you want to put like little subgroups in here, that's okay too. Just make sure you put them all in one place, or else you're gonna have to deal with that later, and that won't be fun. So yeah, we're gonna make a new file, and it just loads up just like that. Sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. So we're gonna go into options. Just for this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So let's go size 20 or 22, because this will help me to show you better, because you can actually see the characters. So that'll be nice. Okay, so the first thing that you want to learn is to print some characters to the screen, so some letters to the screen. So the command for that is just simply print, and we can put what is called a string in here, and we can type hello world, just like that. So this print function can be used in a few different ways, so I might get into that later. But to run the file, we go over to run module, and then we save it, in that folder on our desktop, Python programs, and we're going to name this. I'm going to name this tutorial, and we're going to put a 0 because we are programmers and we start with 0. Be very important. Okay, so as you can see, it prints hello world to the console. That's a pretty simple feature. Now, say we want to add two numbers together, or we want to set a variable. That's fairly simple. If we want to set a variable, if you remember from algebra, to set a variable, you can just put an equal sign and then a letter. So if we want to save the number 2, or not, number 3 to A and the number 4 to B, we could do that just by doing this. And if we want to say C equals A plus B, then that would work. And then we can also print C, and we can run this, and it gives us 7, and that is correct. So that's very useful feature. Now we'll keep these variables up here, and we will get rid of this, and we will say we're going to do something which is called an if statement, or a conditional statement. So to do this, you do if, and then you got to give it a parameter. So if A equals 3, and as you can see, we know that A is 3. And if you're not defining a variable, then you put 2 double equal signs. So in other words, if you're not saying A equals 3, then you do that. So that's fairly simple. And also, any conditional statements, you always have to end off with a colon. That's pretty important. If A equals 3, then we're going to print A plus 1. So what we're doing there is we're taking A and then adding 1 to it. And you can also do math inside these, so just in case you didn't know. We're going to run the module, so we get 4. That is correct, because A plus 1 is 4. Now, there's another one that's kind of cool, is a while statement. So this does exactly what it says, is it will run the code while this statement is true. So if we do A is less than, or no, A is greater than, say, 1, then it will run this bit of code. So it'll print A. Oh yeah, one thing I should mention is if you want something to not be read by the interpreter and just dealt with, then you would put it in a string like this. So A is less than, or no, A is greater than. So now we run this. Okay, so one thing we have to do is we're going to set A to A minus 1 each time it runs this. So that, and then also, I forgot to put this. Just wanted to say that before. So as you can see, it subtracted each time. So what it did is, since A is equal to 3, it's like, okay, so A is equal to 3. We're going to run this code, print that, and then we're going to subtract 1. And then it goes back up here. It's like A is equal to, or is A is greater than 1. So we run this code and then subtract 1, and eventually it will get to 1. So while statements are very important, but there's also another one that is just as important. So we're gonna do for, and then I is kind of like a variable that you use for for statements. So a for statement, I will demonstrate. So I just stands for incrementer. For I in a range of say we're gonna go 0 to 10. Print I. So what it's doing is it's storing this variable and then adding to it each time. So we're gonna print I. That's fairly simple. So it'll count up to 9 because so whenever it runs the code, it doesn't. It's doing a while statement basically, and it will just add up until I is less than 1 or is less than 10 or is less than 9. So yeah, I think you get the idea. It's going to subtract 1. So what I like to do is just to notate it, just do a +1, and then it'll actually count up to 10. That's pretty nice. Okay. So that's gonna be all for this video. If you like this video, then go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more, I'm gonna be making more of these videos soon. So stay tuned for that. But I will see you in the next episode.